Count it all joy, Charles is back online. The Equally Yoked Show. Get yoked for free. Count it all joy, Charles is back online. The Equally Yoked Show. Get yoked for free. Count it all joy, Charles is back online. The Equally Yoked Show. Get yoked for free. Count it all joy, Charles is back online.
Can you let me know if that's working? Let me know if that's good because something is up. Muted still, muted still. Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Everyone good? We all here? Do the sign language. Sign language. Can you hear me? Anybody good? Let's see here. Make sure we're all good. I don't know. I can't. We're good. Sick. Tight. All right. Glad to have you guys here for the show. We are going to be, and thank you so much for that. Appreciate that so much. You guys are looking out. Appreciate that 100%. All right, so just confirming. Yeah. All right. Let's get started. So, from all of the information that we've seen thus far with the attacks going on in Iran, of course, we have data points for you to show you what exactly has happened thus far. Now, as I said before, or just before, I figured I was muted. Figured out I was muted. That it's on like Donkey Kong. There is so much to cover with this Iranian war. Now, so far the data points that we have available to us is. And for those that are just joining in, glad to have you here as we get started on the war in Iran. Now, for the folks that are just joining in, subscribe to the podcast, email us freedom@equallyyokeshow.com. We're going to be going over all of this stuff ASAP. So the targets that have been struck are nearly 2,000 Iranian military leadership and infrastructure targets hit by combined U.S. and Israeli forces. So CENTCOM is reporting over 1,250 in the first 48 hours alone. Now, the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, killed in opening strikes on February 28th, along with 48 senior officials and commanders, including Defense Minister, IRGC Chief Armed Forces Chief of Staff, and dozens of top IRGC intelligence figures. Now, what's also interesting, before we continue on here, this was a video that came out as of 15 hours ago, where they were in the middle of a meeting to figure out who's going to be the next leader. They're all getting eliminated. They're all getting assassinated. And here we go. This is what we saw just 15 hours ago. And we have an update too from just 38 minutes ago from a new Khamenei possibly stepping in. We're going to be looking at that here in a moment. But let's take a look.
That the Israelis just struck the Supreme Council gathering where the Iranians were meeting to choose a new supreme leader. This is a significant development and again speaks to the Israeli intelligence about this war. They just targeted the meeting in Tehran where what's left of the leadership was gathering to choose a new supreme leader. The Iranians are continuing their attacks against Israel. Right now, we are in the community of Bnei Brak. It's a religious community outside of Tel Aviv. And you can see where the police and first responders say part of a cluster munition that was attached to the warhead of a ballistic missile slammed into this apartment block. 7 people were wounded, 1 woman moderately. And I want to just show you the scene here in Bnei Brak. You can see the amount of destruction behind me. There is debris and rubble all over this community. And again, police and first responders say it's a miracle that no one was killed. People were home at the time, and this entire area is filled with children because the Israelis are celebrating the holiday of Purim.
Now, God bless you, official All Right Who Farted. Appreciate your wonderful gift. Now, what's also concerning about what we've what the footage that we just saw here, concerning by a congresswoman by the name of Ilhan Omar, who says that the U.S. is now striking again on a Iranian holiday, on an Islamic holiday, and the problem is that Ilhan Omar doesn't seem to even know an inch of history when it comes to the strikes that Iran or any of the Islamic jihadis that have struck in Israel, in the heart of Israel. They've done so typically and always on Jewish holidays. No matter what day it falls on, they will always strike. And what's interesting, if you actually look at the calendar, let me pull this up here because I actually have a screenshot now. Let me see here. It's actually quite fascinating when you actually look at when the U.S. started. So, as you know, the Gregorian calendar is 1447, this month of Ramadan. The Islamic Hijri, I think it's called, calendar, and Gregorian calendar for 1447 was actually is our Gregorian calendar, right, on February 28th, 2026. Their calendar, the Islamic calendar, is 1447, 9/11. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? 1447, 9/11. Now, for those that follow this calendar, you know what we are talking about here concerning the Islamic Hijri calendar. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. I could be butchering the name. So here's what we see so far. We saw the strikes that were happening, that they took out some leaders, and we're going to get to that, to the possibly a new leader in a moment, and we're going to be looking at an article very shortly. But here's some more data for you. The Iranian Navy has been destroyed, with 9 to 17 major warships and support vessels sunk, including a drone carrier, Shahid Baghari, forward base ship Makran, Jamarian class corvettes, and Alvan class frigates. Jeez, my pronunciation on these. And at least one submarine. I can pronounce that. Naval headquarters in Bandar Abbas largely obliterated, ballistic missile capabilities, 200 launchers and sites destroyed, approximately 50% of Iran's operational inventory per Israeli and U.S. assessments, hundreds more missile stockpiles, and production facilities hit by B-1 bombers and other assets. And so we have surface-to-air missile systems suppressed and destroyed, plus multiple military airfields crippled. Now, if you're looking and following along with the CENTCOM X account, you're going to see all of these videos that they are posting, these unclassified videos that they're posting on their channel, to see exactly what they are destroying. And so as we continue on here, there's been a total of 6 American service members killed and at least 18 wounded from this so far, from what we've seen, by Iranian retaliatory missile and drone strikes on regional bases, Kuwait, UAE, and others. Over 500 ballistic missiles and 800 drones launched against Israel, U.S. bases in the Gulf, and other regional targets, which is funny because a lot of what people are actually pointing out, it's not so funny, it's more of a rhetoric. But what's actually interesting is that you have Iran attacking its allies, or its friends, you could say, its neighbors. And a lot of these nations were going to sit idly, but now what we are seeing is we're seeing them take the defense, where they're not actively getting involved by shooting rockets. We're seeing some nations weigh in on this, whether they will take offensive action, but mostly defensive from what is happening with Iran. And it only proves more so what the U.S. intelligence, right? They're probably not going to say everything, but what the U.S. intelligence has found, even in cohesive with Israeli intelligence, what has been found concerning what Iran was planning to do, as many on the Democrats are taking to social media, like Elizabeth Warren, Seth Magaziner, and a few others, that are saying this one thing that they continue to say, right? That there is no intelligence that suggests Iran is planning attack. So the problem, people are arguing against the commander-in-chief who made a decision to preemptively strike. And so we have a clip that I want to show you concerning this. Let me bring you over to this clip during a meeting that he had just today, and we will go to that for you right now. Let me just play it on my end.
Commercial air travel right now is severely restricted in the Middle East, and thousands of Americans are stranded. Why wasn't there an evacuation plan?
So she's saying thousands of Americans are stranded, talking about the restrictive air travel. And let's continue on here. Sorry, it's a little, the audio's low on their end. I got it blasting on my end.
You send planes to get people out?
Well, because it happened all very quickly. We thought, and I thought maybe more so than most, I could ask Marco, but I thought we were going to have a situation where we were going to be attacked. They were getting ready to attack Israel. They were getting ready to attack others. You're seeing that right now. And a lot of those missiles that are hitting in, those are stationary. Those were aimed there for a long period of time at these other countries. So I think I was right about that. We attacked first. And if we didn't, it could have been, look, we're really decimating them. They're being decimated.
So, and you can look at more of these clips that are circulating online, of course, but following this, we have the one Democrat that is really on the side of the Trump administration. That is, as you guessed it, Senator John Fetterman. He's talked about this. He's talked about the backing of Israel and their right to be a nation, their right to exist as a nation, concerning even what happened during the war. The first, actually, a strike on the nuclear weapons. And he says here, every member in the U.S. Senate agrees we cannot allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon. So it's interesting. He's mentioning every member in the Senate. Must include Democrats and Republicans here. He says, I'm baffled why so many are unwilling to support the only action to achieve that. Empty sloganeering versus commitment to global security. Which is it? So, again, one of the only Democrats who's talking about this with open support on social media, on news outlets. He's being very, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent with his position. And so there, to top it all off with everything that we are seeing, we're seeing so much. We're seeing AI clips, and we're seeing a lot of false information. And it's wild, because when you have clips like this that are coming out from a pro-Iranian account, and it actually looks like it was just deleted. Hold on. Let me make sure that this is not, because I was going to play it for you and it's deleted. I just tried to refresh the page. And the account that had it was Iran Army. Iran Army update. And it looks like they just deleted an AI video that they posted of Tehran getting absolutely bombed, decimated. And it's like multiple rockets flying in. And of course they deleted it. That's wild. I mean, I'm not sure how else I could have saved it otherwise. Maybe could have downloaded it via browser and showed you. But basically, the post was showing that they were essentially celebrating this fact, right? Now, this pro-Iranian account here that managed to delete the video was using some type of AI. Now, it was not sure exactly what kind of software they were using. However, people were asking if this is AI, and it actually said on the caption that Grok has confirmed the video when that was not true, and it was just spreading lies. But clips are also circulating of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was talking about this during Operation Midnight Hammer, was giving his point of view concerning endless wars, concerning the position, the MAGA base, speaking on behalf of the MAGA base. And as I look to find where these clips originate so that we can bring them on the show, show them in context, these are being shared as clips, mind you. These are left-leaning channels posting them without commentary and or context, as they always do. For example, they immediately after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, what do we see? We saw many clips circulating of Charlie Kirk talking about, this could be the reason why he was assassinated, his position on Israel, and all this stuff. It just began to everybody began to focus on what he was saying concerning Israel, posting really old clips during the Gaza, the first, what happened on October the 7th with Hamas invading beyond the Gaza borders, and many of the rockets that came in, and the hostages, and what he was saying concerning that. And so, of course, we have a lot of those clips that were circulating, but here's his stance concerning Iran. Let me play this clip for you because I think it's important to get his point of view while we look for the other clips that are being shared online. So here we go.
How much do you actually know about Iran? Persia was a great power, and then Iran took a turn for the worst. Interestingly enough, there was the Shah of Iran, and then the Shah was displaced by Mossadegh. Mossadegh was democratically elected. Now, to be very fair, the United States and Britain got rid of Mossadegh, and then we reinstalled the Shah. Bad decision, which then led to the Iranian Revolution, where radical Islam took over Iran. Look at some of these pictures of what Iran used to be. It was wealthy, it was proud, it was strong. The Persians are wonderful people. Some of my closest friends are Persians, and I love the Persian people. And we should have a heart for the Persian people to try and have a better future. Regime change is very difficult to talk about. I actually don't like talking about regime change. It's very complicated, but understand that there can be brighter days ahead for the Iranian people. and just look at some of these pictures of how beautiful Iran used to be, how beautiful Tehran used to be. And it's very easy to kind of sit in your Western armchair and be like, oh, Israel's terrible. Well, you were able to enjoy free speech rights and a lot of rights here in the West that Iran used to have. And if you are serious about actually protecting human rights, you should want to make Iran Western again. How much do you actually know?
Now, of course, when we look at the history of Iran and concerning Scripture, because this has obviously been the talk, and when things like this happen in the Middle East, a lot of people often flock to church. We see higher church attendance. We see a lot of what is beginning to happen on the world stage, especially even when COVID happened. More people flocked to church. Now, people want answers to these world events because people know that the Scriptures have a sort of apocalyptic point of view from an outside perspective, people that don't know the Scriptures, people that don't know the Scriptures in context concerning this. But there is a Scripture that is coming to mind that we've showed on this broadcast before. We're not going to go too much into detail, but it talks about the judgment of Elam. Now, Elam, if you don't know, this is an area, a region in Persia, which is the ancient name for Iran. And so and this is why they're often referenced as Persians. If you ask the Iranian people, they would rather mention they reference themselves as Persians rather than Iranians, of course, being what their heritage was. So the judgment on Elam during the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, rather, that God will break the bow of Elam, the mainstay of their might. Now, what's interesting is that Pete Hegseth, now I don't think he was intentional in saying this. Maybe he was. I know he's a believer. But he basically talked about striking the archer. You want to get rid of the archer so that you can stop the arrows from coming in. And so here we go. He says, and I will bring upon Elam for the four winds from the four quarters of heaven, and I will scatter to all those winds, and there shall be no nation to which those driven out of Elam shall not come. And I will terrify Elam and their enemies, and before those who seek their life, I will bring disaster upon them. My fierce anger, declares the Lord. I will send the sword after them until I have consumed them, and I will set my throne, or judgment, in Elam and destroy their king and officials, declares the Lord. But in the latter days, I'll restore the fortunes of Elam, declares the Lord. Now, this is very interesting in Jeremiah 49. That's the scripture there. You can go ahead and read it in context and to understand that a little bit more. But concerning Elam and this talk about Iran and maybe who's going to be the next leader, what's coming next, possibly, here's this clerical body, Iran's clerical body, the Assembly of Experts, has elected Mojab Khomeini, the son of the late Ali Khamenei, as the Islamic Republic's new supreme leader, according to his informed sources who spoke to Iran's International on condition of anonymity. The decision marks one of the most consequential movements, and this is as of 40 minutes ago, actually 55 minutes ago, actually. This is from Iran International. This is the website that I am using, the English version of this. And so it says here, the decision marks one of the most consequential moments in history of the Islamic Republic, effectively transferring power within the same family for the first time since the 1979 revolution. But who exactly is Mojtaba Khomeini? He's 55, has long been considered one of the most influential figures inside Iran's ruling system, despite rarely appearing in public or holding formal political office. For years, he operated within the office of the supreme leader, serving as the gatekeeper and power broker for around his father. His position has often been compared to the role played by Ahmad Khomeini, the son of Islamic Republic's founder, Ruhollah Khomeini, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, who served as a key aide and confidant during the early years of the revolutionary state. So is he, now this is again, as of 55 minutes ago. Now what we saw earlier in the broadcast was 15 hours ago that the U.S. struck the meeting that they were apparently having concerning who they are going to elect. Now, here's a photo just for sake of media, so you can see exactly what we're looking at. This is the guy who was apparently now in place as the new leader. And so the article here again talks about the who's been considered one of the most influential figures inside this ruling system, Iran's ruling system. So could he have been installed? Has he been taken out already? We don't actually know, because as soon as many of these figures are installed, they are often taken out. We've seen this with Hezbollah, when Israel decapitated Hezbollah by taking out Nasrallah, and the incredible show of force that they conducted against the Hezbollah forces in Lebanon. And so what we began to see after that, after Nasrallah got taken out, I believe it was his cousin or somebody from the family line was then taken out, and everybody after that was continuing to be removed one by one. And so one thing that I think somebody had said here, and I think it was actually you, YouTube Punk, you say here something along the lines of, by the way, you say, oh yeah, I think it was this MGT, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think you got that wrong. And Tucker Carlson opposed Trump's BS war. Look, there are many on the Republican, conservative, Democrat side where they are taking a stance of, look, we voted for no new wars. And I get that point. I get that, I get that people are bringing it back to, this is why we voted on Donald Trump. Now, some of the things that we've already been involved with from past presidencies, from the Joe Biden presidency, some of the issues that we've already been involved with. Now, this particular involvement, which Trump says that he believes that he was the one that pushed Israel into, he feels like he pushed Israel. Let me see if I can actually find the clip for you, because this might be beneficial for you to see concerning what was said. I think we're all good. I'm sorry. I accidentally ended the stream for a moment there, and I think I'm back. I think I'm all good. Please let me know in the chat if I'm back and good. It's been doing that for whatever reason. Command T controls my stream start and stop, I guess. I don't know. I never put that as a hot key, but I guess that is the case. All right. So this clip that I'm looking to show you is going to help us understand what we are looking at, what Trump's mindset. Okay, I think we're all good. Okay, so this is willingness to stay here as the stream continues to keep restarting. I'm sure you guys are still there, and you guys are still seeing me. By the way, God bless you for another 800 Jules. I appreciate your wonderful gift. Official All Right Who Farted. I actually love that name. It's great. And I remember seeing you here in this chat before. And it's absolutely amazing. So thanks so much for being here. It looks like you guys are still here and all good. Not here. It's over. Not here. It's over. Well, I think I'm still good because I am seeing the chat. Now, I'm trying to, here we go. This is the clip. And I want to make sure that I play this for you guys so you guys understand what I'm talking about concerning this, that Trump feels that he was the one that that the U.S. might have pressured Israel into doing this. So let me play this clip for you.
Based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. And I've done it all their lives very successfully. Opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully, and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised. And now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them. Someday they'll write a story and they'll say why they did that, but they hit countries that had nothing to do with what's going on. They were sort of leaving everything alone. All of a sudden they had missiles shot in, which shows you the level of evil that we're dealing with. They'll hit people that were actually at least somewhat friendly, and they had no problems with it. Also hitting only civilian places, hotels and apartment buildings, and we're hitting them where it is much more appropriate.
Now, where have you seen this tactic before? You've seen this tactic during what followed after October the 7th and the response by Israel into Gaza and the response from the Hamas leadership from Gaza into Israel. You saw that the rockets, being that these were rockets that didn't have any sort of guidance systems in them, rather you shoot them and they basically land wherever they are sort of aimed in that sort of general direction. Now, a lot of these misfired on themselves, and what they would do is they would then blame these misfirings on Israel. They would say Israel attacked such and such school. Israel attacked this building, this government building, and killed Gaza civilians. This is why we can't trust the Gaza humanitarian health ministry. I think it's the Gaza Health Ministry on their numbers, because especially what we pointed out from the what do I call him? Bernie Sanders, the guy who needs to leave. What is he in Congress? The guy who the senator. I think he's a senator actually. The guy who needs. Clearly, we've got some issues going on here, and I think I'm going to restart my keyboard because I think it might be that. Could be that. Anyway, so with Bernie Sanders, who has pointed out the number of 72,000 killed by Israel, even with this, what has been happening concerning the Iranian attack that we are witnessing today, is why we can't trust the Gaza Health Ministry, because they are reporting numbers that are false or inflated, or deaths that have been committed by them. And so these people are probably dead, but otherwise, actually dead. The numbers are probably accurate, but they're not accurate in the reporting as to how they died. They could even been executed by their very own. Who knows? So otherwise, we see that Iran, the similar tactic that was utilized by Hamas and Hezbollah, is that they just fire into civilian population. They don't care who they hit. They don't care what they do. And not only that, do they install these, missiles. Hamas specifically, what they were doing is they were installing these military operations, missiles, and all these military grade weapons in civilian populated areas. Not only that, would they blend in to civilian areas where they wouldn't wear official uniform. This is their tactic. This is what they did. And so Marco Rubio, what we've been seeing with Marco Rubio and him talking about the sort of giving us an update concerning this war and what's going on. Let's hear what he says concerning this, because he is showing us what is going to be coming in the next, couple of days, next couple of weeks. And there's no real timeline, according to J.D. Vance, according to Rubio, according to Pete Hegseth, that there is no timeline concerning this, that it could take as long as they need it to take. And of course, our hope is that this will end soon. This ends quickly. The leadership and the succession leadership is taken out. Internal uprising happens where they begin to install their own person in power, their own government in power, whether it be the Shah, whether it be someone else that is going to have a strong tie with the U.S. and, stop firing into Israel. But it will be difficult to see all these things pan out, because we know, according to God's scripture, according to his word, that he will break the bow of Elam, as I mentioned before. Now, again, is this prophecy being fulfilled? We cannot say. We just have to let this pan out and to see what will happen. And of course, it's merely speculation as of right now, but it's looking quite incredible as we are witnessing such a time as this, because God has always placed a huge emphasis on the Middle East and the surrounding nations because of one specific nation, that is Israel. Jerusalem is the burdensome stone, and all who try to lift it will be crushed. That is a scripture in the Old Testament. And so here's Marco Rubio. Let's take a look at what he's saying concerning this, because this is all informative.
With an update, I will obviously refer you to the Department of War. Suffice it to say that our objectives remain as they've been identified from the beginning and by the President laid out clearly yesterday. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, and we will now not allow Iran to hide behind the immunity of a massive short-term ballistic missile inventory or the ability to make them or launch them. And so CENTCOM, in a joint operations, is carrying out a systematic destruction of their missile belt, destruction of their launchers, and destruction of their ability to make these, as well as the destruction of their Navy. From what I've been told by the Department of War, everything is on or ahead of schedule and proceeding on these objectives. We have every confidence in the world that these objectives will be achieved. The last point I would make is, and I said this yesterday and I repeat, what's about to, you're about to see, we're going to unleash Chang on these people in the next few hours and days. You're going to really begin to perceive a change in the scope and in the intensity of these attacks as, frankly, the two most powerful air forces in the world take apart this terroristic regime and defang it and take away its ability to threaten its neighbors or hide behind a zone of immunity that are nuclear weapons. We saw what they were willing to do to their own people. They were willing to slaughter their own people in the streets. Imagine what they would do to us. Imagine what they would do to others. Under President Trump, that will never, ever happen. All right?
Yesterday you talked about Israel. Mr. Secretary.
Please, guys, I can't hear them all. Yes.
Yesterday, you told us that Israel was going to strike Iran, and that's why we needed to get involved.
No, were you the one that? Because somebody asked me a question yesterday. Did we go in because of Israel? And I said, you were asking me that. You from that follow-up, and I said no. I told you this had to happen anyway. The president made a decision, and the decision he made was that Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ballistic missile program. That Iran was not going to be allowed to hide behind its ability to conduct these attacks. That decision had been made. The president systematically made a decision to systematically destroy this terroristic capability that they had, and we carried that out. I was very clear in that answer. This was a question of timing, of why this had to happen as a joint operation, not the question of the intent. Once the president made a decision that negotiations were not going to work, that they were playing us on the negotiations, and that this was a threat that was untenable, the decision was made to strike them. That's what I said yesterday, and you guys need to play it. And if you're going to play these statements, you need to play the whole statement, not clip it to reach a narrative that you want to do, all right?
This is your statement.
He calls them out right to their face, because that's what they do. They love to clip these things, especially what they did concerning the Charlie Kirk clip that has been circulating around as of late. And of course, before I play any of that, I want to get the context of it before I indeed continue to show what's being shown and what's being said. It's always good to go back because you see cuts in these little clips, and that's what we always see.
Statement, Mr. Secretary.
Go ahead.
What do you make of the war powers resolution that's being considered here in Congress?
I mean, Congress votes on those. They can if they want. There's mechanisms for it. We've complied with the War Powers Act, even though we believe it's unconstitutional, as has every other administration. Every other president has found the War Powers Act to be unconstitutional. Nonetheless, we notified Gang of Eight, which was an appropriate mechanism by which to notify Congress. We sent the notification within 48 hours, the way the law requires. I'm here today to have, I don't know, my 6th or 7th briefing before the entirety of the House and Senate, which is far more than I ever got from any administration in the time that I was here, certainly when I was a member of the Gang of Eight. And so we've over-complied with the law and what it requires. This is an action by the president to address a real threat, This is hostilities designed to eliminate a threat to the safety and the security of the United States and to our allies.
Now, let me remind you, because this was under the Obama administration, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure that this is under, let's see here. Yeah, this would be under the Obama administration. Let me play this clip for you. This is Nancy Pelosi talking about the strikes that happened in Lebanon. Let's take you over to that clip here, because again, the fact that people continue to say, well, you're going to let this administration lie. This was your administration. This is exactly, and the things that they're saying now, like Elizabeth Warren and the other guy, what's his name? Seth Magaziner, or Sean Magaziner. I can't remember his name, but otherwise, this is what they were saying then concerning this. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Here we go. Let's play this clip here.
So, Madam Speaker, Madam Leader, you're saying that the president did not need authorization initially and still does not need any authorization from Congress on Libya?
Yes.
Thank you both.
Thank you all very much.
It's exactly a straight up answer. That's all you needed to hear. That's all you needed to understand concerning this clip. But let me take you over to CENTCOM. This is the operational update concerning what is going down. Now, of course, there are more updates that will be coming in the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks. Let me see. There is another. I think there is another detail here. Maybe, not sure. So let me play this clip, and we'll continue on from this point on. Here we go.
Good afternoon. I'm Admiral Brad Cooper, the commander of United States Central Command. In this capacity, I lead U.S. military forces in the Middle East. I'm here to provide you an update on Operation Epic Fury, now in our 4th day of execution. First, I'd like to express my deepest condolences to the families and teammates of the extraordinary Americans who've been killed in action. And I'd also like to extend our prayers for a speedy recovery to the wounded. Yesterday, you heard from Secretary Hegseth and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Today, I'd like to give you an operational update on where we are and provide you with some key facts. By order of the President of the United States and the Secretary of War, our military in the Middle East is undertaking an unprecedented operation to eliminate Iran's ability to threaten Americans, as they've been doing for nearly half a century. Having spent more than 36 years in the military, I could not be prouder of America's sons and daughters in uniform who are answering the call. More than 50 and more capability is on the way. These forces bring a massive amount of firepower, representing the largest buildup by the U.S. in the Middle East in a generation. In the opening hours of Operation Epic Fury, U.S. Central Command forces, together with Israel, delivered overwhelming and unprecedented strikes into Iran. Many of you may remember the shock and awe strikes of 2003. The first 24 hours of this operation were nearly double the scale, and we continue with 24/7 strikes into Iran from seabed to space and cyberspace. Now, we're less than 100 hours into this operation, and we've already struck nearly 2,000 targets.
And so, Justice, you say, yeah, whoever thinks it was not a great thing that we took this guy out, meaning Ali Khamenei, really has no idea about anything in the real world. They don't understand Middle Eastern politics. They don't understand, well, I mean, you don't even have to understand Middle Eastern politics necessarily, but geopolitics is important when it comes to understanding what it means for the U.S., what it means for the threats that they make, that they are willing to go through with those exact threats. Now, there has been many instances where the U.S. did not act as it should have. And of course, President Trump, well, he wasn't president then, but decades ago, he has been saying the same message that Iran should not have nuclear weapons, even concerning the hostages. He said that the U.S. and its stance that it took by not taking out or, acting as quickly as they should concerning the hostages, that this should not have been allowed to happen. He's always had this stance. Now, the Islamic resistance in Iraq claims drone strike in Jordan. It says Iraq said it carried out a drone swarm attack on what it describes as a vital target in Jordan early Wednesday, the group said in a statement. So here's 46 minutes ago, new Iranian leader will be a target, Israeli defense minister said. So as we posted, or as we said earlier concerning the one who they believe let's see here, has been elected, the Mojtaba Khomeini, the son of late Ali Khomeini, where the Israeli defense minister says that they will be targeted. So it says any leader appointed by Iran's ruling system to continue plans to destroy Israel, threaten the world, and suppress the Iranian people will be a clear target. So I don't understand how the folks on the left, even some on the right, that don't clearly understand that when they make threats like this, they mean it, and they will do anything in their power to fulfill that threat. Even the words of the late Ali Khomeini, I wouldn't say late and great because he is not great. This is an incredible moment in history as we witness the fall of a top regime. We even saw the president who died not that long ago by a helicopter malfunctioning or something of that nature. The butcher of Tehran, which is Ibrahim Raisi. Now, let me see if I can find this post for you because I might have saved it, but it was from his account. I don't know if I saved it, but let me look it up here. Yeah, it was from his account, and basically what he said. Let's see here. Just after here we go. This was just after it was announced that he had died. This is what he said on X. It says, "In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Among the faithful are men who fulfill what they have pledged to Allah. There are some among them who have fulfilled their pledge, and some of them who still wait, and they have not changed in the least." So this message here, this messaging from, of course, the members, the leaders, the social media people of this account were probably told, hey, this is something that we need to post on his account. And this is basically saying that, look, we're still going to follow through with our very own threats. This is exactly what they are planning to do. They will continue this operation against Israel, this operation against the U.S., which is known as the Big Satan, Israel known as the Little Satan, because they got to take out the Big Satan in order to get to the Little Satan. And so this is what is being said here concerning this new leader that will be targeted. So this is the Defense Minister Israel Katz said on Wednesday, "We will continue to act with full force together with our American partners to crush the regime's capabilities and create the conditions for the Iranian people to overthrow it and replace it," Katz said in a post on X. So Israel would keep acting with full force together with its U.S. partners to degrade the Iranian leadership capabilities and create conditions for the Iranian people to overthrow and replace it, the Israeli defense minister added. So what we'll be seeing next, possibly the elimination of the new elected leader, which would be the son of the late Khomeini. So yeah, we're seeing Hamas now launching long-range missiles towards Tel Aviv. And there's so much happening here with this war that we'll continue to keep you posted on. And so we are going to keep you updated as all this information comes out. And tomorrow, if Lord is willing, we'll be live again around the same time. Well, actually, a little bit sooner. I was just gathering some of the data for tonight to be able to show you. So, guys, if you watch this podcast, you enjoy the news that comes out of it. And of course, I watch these clips so that you don't have to. Going through the long form, interviews that we see of Trump, of Rubio, of Pete Hegseth, even of the Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries, and many others. If you guys appreciate this, please consider subscribing and liking this show. And of course, email me your thoughts, freedom@equallyoakeshow.com. And we'll be continuing on in this broadcast tomorrow. So thanks so much for joining me in this show. I'll be leaving the chat on for a little moment longer as you guys continue your debates. And we'll be leaving on one of the conversations that Donald Trump had while this continues so that you guys can see this see all this in context, of course. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me just get that set up for you guys here. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate that. Oh, you know what? Hold on. All right. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We have a meeting with a man who's become a friend of mine, and we've known each other for a little while and some very interesting times. And we get along. Our countries get along very well. We have a great affinity for each other. And the Chancellor has been very well received in Germany. He's a very successful man, became the Chancellor of Germany, which is a big deal. And he's doing a very good job, in my opinion, a great job, very popular. And the relationship that we have in trade and everything else has been very strong. We've been able to do our deals, and it's been very strong. We'll obviously be talking a little bit about Iran today, and he's been helping us out. We've been very nice, actually. And that is coming along, as you see, very well. They have no Navy. It's been knocked out. They have no Air Force. It's been knocked out. They have no air detection. That's been knocked out. Their radar has been knocked out. And just about everything's been knocked out. So we'll see how we do. But we're doing very well. We have a great military, and they're doing a fantastic job. So we'll be talking about that. And we're talking about some very big trade deals. And those I know will work out too. So I just want to say it's a great honor to have you at the Oval Office. The beautiful Oval Office, beautiful White House. It's a special place, even from your standpoint. And you have some very special places too. And I look forward to being with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, for having me here in this Oval Office for the third time now.
Yeah.
Really happy to have the opportunity to speak with you in these challenging times. We are on the same page in terms of getting this terrible regime in Tehran away, and we will talk about the day after, what will happen then if they are out. We have to talk about our trade agreement, which I would like to be in place as soon as possible. And we have to talk about Ukraine. There are too many bad guys in this world, actually, and this is an issue we have to talk about because we all want to see this war coming to an end as soon as possible. But Ukraine has to preserve its territory and their security interests, and well, we will talk about that.
We will.
Looking forward to that.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for letting me spending the night in your guest house.
That's right.
Very, very
good.
Comfortable place.
Hope you liked it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, great place.
And
a famous place.
That's good. Very famous.
So many former presidents.
That's right. Yeah. Very famous place. Any questions, please?
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people, people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised. And now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them. Someday they'll write a story and they'll say why they did that, but they hit countries that had nothing to do with what's going on. They were sort of leaving everything alone. All of a sudden they had missiles shot in, which shows you the level of evil that we're dealing with. They'll hit people that were actually at least somewhat friendly, and they had no problems with it. Also hitting only civilian places, hotels and apartment buildings, and we're hitting them where it is much more appropriate. We're hitting them very hard. And the big scale hitting goes now. They no longer have air protection. They no longer have any detection facilities at all left. And so they're gonna be in for a lot of hurt. These are bad people. These are people that killed. I guess it's 35,000. It's coming out 35,000 over the last 3 weeks. Protesters, 35,000 violently killed. So these are bad people, and the leader of the pack is gone. And as you know, 49 people were taken out in the first hit, and I guess there was another hit today on the new leadership, and it looks like that was pretty substantial also. So they're getting hit very hard, and we'll see what happens. A lot of people are coming forward. A lot of the people you would least suspect want to quit. They want to have immunity. They're asking for immunity, and probably at some point they'll be dropping, as you would say, laying down their guns. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, we're just continuing to go forward. Our military is the #1 in the world by far, and we are. Everything's big in my book. Venezuela was big. This is big. The original hit, Midnight Hammer, was big. Everything you view is big, but it's not considered very big by some standards, by some of our standards. We have a military like no other military that's ever been built.
Mr. President, what's the worst case scenario that you have planned for in Iran?
Well, I don't know if there's a worst case. We have them very much beaten militarily from the military standpoint. They're still lobbing some missiles. At some point, they won't even be able to do that because we're hitting all of their carriers. We're hitting all of their missile stock. You know, they built up all these missiles over the last few years. They had a lot of them. They've shot a lot of them, and we're knocking out a lot. I guess the worst case would be we do this, and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. We don't want that to happen. That would probably be the worst. You go through this, and then in 5 years you realize you put somebody in who was no better. So we'd like to see somebody in there that's going to bring it back for the people. And we'll see what happens with the people. You know, they have their chance, and we've said don't do it yet. If you're going to go out and protest, don't do it yet. It's very dangerous out there. A lot of bombs are being dropped. But I would say that would be about the worst.
Do you have someone in mind right now? Because you said all the people you did have in mind have been taken out. What do you think?
Well, most of the people we had in mind are dead. So, you know, we had some in mind from that group that is dead. And now we have another group. They may be dead also, based on reports. So I guess you have a third wave coming in. Pretty soon we're not going to know anybody. But we have, I mean, Venezuela was so incredible because we did the attack and we kept government totally intact. And we have Delcy, who's been very good. We have the whole chain of command, and they've been, you know, the relationship's been great. We've taken out 100 million barrels of oil already. And a big part of that goes to them, and a big part goes to us. And it's been great. We paid for the war many times over, and we're going to be running the oil. And Venezuela is going to make more money than they ever made, and that's great for the people. The relationship has been great. It's been seamless. Nobody's actually ever seen anything like it. If you look at Iraq, where very stupidly everybody was fired, the generals were fired, the military was fired, the police were fired, the fire departments were fired, and all of the government workers were fired. So after, you know, people would call, they had no idea. And by the way, ISIS was formed. That's where ISIS came from, all of the fired people. We don't believe in that. So we'll see what happens, but first we have to finish off the military.
Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, is he an option at all in your mind?
I guess he is. Some people like him, and we haven't been thinking about too much about that. It would seem to me that somebody from within maybe would be more appropriate. I've said that. He looks like a very nice person, but it would seem to me that somebody that's there, that's currently popular, if there's such a person. But we have people like that. We have people that were more moderate. You know, these were radical lunatics, and you know what they get? They get nothing. All they do is kill people.
Mr. President, what exactly was the imminent threat, Mr. President?
Not your turn.
What exactly?
Not your turn, please.
Mr. President, are you going to take the heat off the Europeans to potentially help you? Mark Rutte called on the allies to also help you. And
What does that mean?
Well, you have to ask Mark Rutte. He said not as part of NATO, but to be helpful to you in this.
Well, some of the European nations have been helpful, and some haven't, and I'm, very surprised. Germany's been great; he's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte. I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it, but we don't have to. But they were unfriendly. And so I told him, we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
What is the expectation towards?
And I'm not, by the way, I'm not happy with the UK either. That island that you read about, the lease, okay, he made it for whatever reason, he made a lease of the island. Somebody came and took it away from him. And it's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we are very surprised. This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with.
Mr. President, what's your expectations towards Germany? What can Germany do, and what should Germany do to help you in this conflict?
Well, I think they're doing it. I mean, they're letting us land in certain areas, and that's, we appreciate it. And they're just making it comfortable. We're not asking them to put boots on the ground or anything. I mean, we're just they're a respected country. I have a very good relationship with the country. We have, in particular, now with this leader, with this new leader. I think he's an excellent leader. I had my differences with Angela. I said, "You're hurting your country with immigration, and you're hurting your country with energy." And we have a man sitting on my right that is, I think, pretty much the opposite of her on energy and the opposite on immigration. And I think he's doing very well.
Commercial air travel right now is severely restricted in the Middle East, and thousands of Americans are stranded. Why wasn't there an evacuation plan, and will you send planes to get people out?
Well, because it happened all very quickly. We thought, and I thought maybe more so than most, I could ask Marco, but I thought we were going to have a situation where we were going to be attacked. They were getting ready to attack Israel. They were getting ready to attack others. You're seeing that right now. And a lot of those missiles that are hitting in, those are stationary. Those were aimed there for a long period of time at these other countries. So I think I was right about that. We attacked first. And if we didn't, it could have been, look, we're really decimating them. They're being decimated. And if we didn't, and by the way, we have massive amounts of ammunition. We have the high end. A lot of it was given away stupidly by Biden, very stupidly, for free. And I'm all for Ukraine, but they gave away a lot. As you know, when I give away ammunition, everybody pays for it. The European Union's paying for it. Then they can do what they want with it, but they are giving it, let's say, to Ukraine, and it's okay. But we gave away a lot of high-end, but we have plenty. But we have unlimited middle and upper ammunition, which is really what we're using in this war. And we have really an unlimited supply. We also have a lot of the very high-end stored in different countries throughout the world. We're literally storing it there, which is actually something that I insisted on in my first term. I rebuilt the military in my first term. The military is great. Unbelievable amount of ammunition, or munitions, as they say, we're giving away to, the Wall Street Journal incorrectly covered the story when they said that it was given away to the Middle East. Not to the Middle East, it was given away to Ukraine. Very little was given to the Middle East. The Middle East would buy a lot, and some of the nations, because they're rich, they have a lot, but it was given away to Ukraine. And it just should have been done. Look, it's a war that should have never happened. If I were president, that war would have never happened. But we have a tremendous amount of munitions, ammunition, at the upper level, middle and upper level, all of which is really powerful stuff.
Mr. President, a question to both of you. How worried are you that the rising prices for gas and oil are damaging the American economy, and also with the Chancellor?
Yeah, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. This is, of course, damaging our economies. This is true for the oil prices, and this is true for the gas prices as well. So that's the reason why we all hope that this war will come to an end as soon as possible, and we are hoping that the Israeli and the American army are doing the right things to bring this to an end and to have really a new government in place who is coming back to peace and freedom.
Yeah. Something had to be done. And it's been 47 years. They've been killing people all over the world for a long time. They were the kings and fathers of the roadside bomb. Soleimani, we killed him last term. If we didn't, I think it might be a different story today. They would have been much stronger and smarter than they are. But they did the roadside bombs. 95% of the people lost their legs, arms, had their face wiped out, just wiped out. I've seen some young people that it's so sad to watch. And that was almost all, 95% comes from Iran, and was Soleimani. Soleimani loved his favorite weapon. He loved the roadside bomb. And when you see people walking around with no legs and no arms and a face that's been blown to hell, these people, what they have to go and the way they have to live, this is Iran. When you look at the barracks, the famous barracks, when you look at the hostages, when you look at a lot of hostages, when you look at all of the problems, they were really a purveyor of terror all over the world for many, many years. And it's something that had to be done, something. And I believe that if we didn't, because I see where Congress, if I didn't do this, guys like Schumer, who are losers, the Democrats, they're losers. That's why they're not here. Guys like Schumer would say, well, you should have done this. In other words, if I did it, it's no good. If I didn't do it, they would have said the opposite, that you should have done this. But most people feel, I'll tell you what, I have never had more compliments on something I did. People felt it's something that had to be done. So if we have a little high oil prices for a little while, but as soon as this ends, those prices are going to drop, I believe, lower than even before.
Go
ahead, please.
Mr. President.
Yes.
How do you want to solve the conflict on tariffs between the EU and the US? And this
Between who?
The conflict on tariffs between the EU and the US. How do you want to solve
And U.S. and who?
EU, European Union.
How do you want to
Well, we won on tariffs, actually. Somebody said you actually won the case. We won on tariffs. We had a decision that was wrong. It was a very bad decision from certain standpoints. From other standpoints, a very powerful decision, because it reaffirmed all the fact that we have all these various forms of tariffs that we felt right, but it totally reaffirmed it. It said you can use all of these tariffs. So we have all these vast menus of tariffs. And tariffs have made our country very rich. We have to charge tariffs to nations who play with their money. They move their money up and down like a yo-yo. We have to take care of nations that have been good to us and fair to us, and we're going to take care of them. Other nations They haven't, and we haven't let them take advantage of us. But the whole thing with tariffs is we had a decision that, like, as an example, we have a license situation, and the license is something that allows us to immediately stop all business with, nobody even knew we had this power, but we do now because of the decision. We have the right to stop all business having to do with a certain country. If a certain country is not treating us well, the president, without going to Congress, has the right to stop. Sort of interesting. I have the right to stop, but under that one law, I didn't have the right to charge them. So I have the right to license them, but I don't have the right to charge, which is frankly ridiculous. But the right was given to us by the Supreme Court. And we have the right, as an example, we talked about Spain. I could tomorrow stop, or today, even better, stop everything having to do with Spain. All business having to do with Spain. I have the right to stop it. Embargoes, do anything I want with it. And we may do that with Spain. What do you think?
Well, sir, I think we're going to talk about it with you. I know that you have a strong power. The Supreme Court clarified. We know you can use it, and if you need to use it to assure national and economic security, we'll do it.
Scott, do you have an opinion?
Sir, I agree. The Supreme Court reaffirmed your ability to implement an embargo, and as we've talked, from your first term, the Section 301s and the 232s have withheld more than 4,000 lawsuits, and USTR and Commerce are going to begin investigations, and we'll move forward with those.
And we've instituted a 15% tariff on everybody, as you know, and just used. I'll tell you, we had a couple of paragraphs written in that opinion that were really incredible. Justice Kavanaugh wrote a fantastic dissent, but in his dissent, he said what we should do, and we knew that too. We just wanted to simplify it, and for some reason, I think, very, very foolishly, the courts decided no, but they said you can do it many other ways, and that's what we're doing. And what we've done is we've gone to a very simple, straight 15% tariff. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in our country because of tariffs. So we've taken in all of this money, hundreds of billions of dollars, and honestly, it's made us very rich as a country. Right? So it's been doing good. When will you have the full plan implemented? We have a 5-month period, up to 5 months, where we can go at 15%. And while we're doing that, as you know, we're doing the various studies and things, and we'll be coming out with different tariffs on different countries. You want to talk about that first?
Yes, sir. By the time the 5-month period has elapsed, we'll have completed investigations under Section 301, which Secretary Bessent talked about. We know there are countries out there with deals who are very interested in keeping the deals. We need to go through and investigate all these unfair trading practices, the kinds of things you talked about, and make sure that we're protecting U.S. economic security. We know there are countries.
How are we going to treat Germany?
Well,
I think you should hit them very, very hard.
You knew he was right there when you said that. They have expressed an interest. Germany's been quite constructive in wanting to move forward and be helpful. The rest of you will talk to them as well. But obviously,
I will say every single country wants to make the deal they already have. In other words, a deal that we have using the other authority, they want to make the same deal. And we'd like to see, actually, we're going to adjust it somewhat upward, actually, but they all want to stay in the deal. And so we'll probably be able to do that pretty easily.
For Ukraine, after all, Iran won't be able to deliver drones to Russia anymore. So what does this war mean to Ukraine? And having Chancellor Merz sitting next to you, whom would you call if you want to talk to Europe? And Chancellor Merz, you've just been in China, the president...
Who are you, what country are you from?
I'm from Germany.
Okay, I thought so, I could see.
So, Mr. Chancellor, you have been in China, and the president...
She likes you.
In China soon.
I don't know.
Will you be talking about China as well, given the specific...
We'll be talking about China, yeah. Sure.
And what about you?
I'll be going to China in a little while. Every time you meet, you talk about China. We respect China. I do. We both do, I think. But It's always a topic of conversation. We've had a very good relationship with China. We used to lose a tremendous amount of money with China, and that's no longer the case. We have a very, very good relationship with China, and we have a very good relationship with Germany. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've seen countries around the world, many of whom don't usually work together, working with the United States on Iran, whether it's Saudi Arabia working with the United States, Israel, Qatari shooting down Iranian aircraft, and we've also seen European countries step up. Why are we seeing such unity around the world against Iran?
That's a great point. Look, they're just evil. They're it's not the politics; it's their whole philosophy. It's their whole where they come from. It's terrible. Where they killed 35,000, I thought it was 32. Now it turns out it's much more than 35,000 people, and in some cases using machine guns with people that have no weapon. They have no weapon, and they're being machine gunned. They're being sniped from buildings. They're hitting the people with snipers right through the eyes. It's just a very evil ideology, and nobody's really seen anything like it. As I said, even the fact that they've attacked all of their neighbors, and the neighbors weren't attacking. They thought they'd maybe sit it out or what. They've hit Qatar, they've hit UAE, they've hit Saudi Arabia, they've hit Oman. They were helping us negotiate. They got hit. Everybody got hit because they're evil and they're bad. It's a bad seed, and somebody had to do it. And it should have been done sometime during a 47-year period because so much death has been caused by them, so much unbelievable death. From Germany, too. Germany's been hit. Everybody's been hit by them. It's an evil ideology, and I've never been... Look, I've done a lot of good things. So many people are saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. You see it in the streets of Los Angeles. They have thousands of people. I saw it the other day, pictures of Donald Trump. And I'm looking, I'm on the phone, probably talking to you. And I'm looking, and I see my picture. I say, oh, no, it's another, protest. I see my picture. And then I started saying, boy, they were very friendly people. And then I saw a woman hugging the picture of me. I said, what's going on? And it turned out to be these are Iranian people that live in the United States.
So many.
Thousands and thousands. You saw the rallies. And in New York, too, they had a big rally, my pictures all over the place. The fact is that people are happy what we did. And you could never, and I've always said it, you could never have had true peace in the Middle East if Iran was allowed to go, even beyond the nuclear. If Iran was allowed to have look at all the missiles they built. A lot have been now taken out by us, and a lot have been expended. But they had thousands of missiles in a fairly short period of time. And I'll go two things. The attack that we did, known as Midnight Hammer, had we not done that, Iran would have had a very powerful nuclear weapon within 1 month. We did it. It was great timing, but, and you've been able to see that too. The other thing was Barack Hussein Obama made maybe the worst deal I've ever seen because he gave all power in the Middle East to Iran. He went the exact opposite way. And I terminated that. If I didn't terminate that deal, they would be sitting with a massive nuclear weapon 3 years ago, which would have been used already on Israel at least, and other countries also. And we wouldn't be talking about it right now. But if I didn't terminate the deal that Obama made, giving them everything, including plane loads of cash. Do you remember the airplane flew over there? It was a Boeing 757. There was two of them, loaded. They took out all the seats. It was loaded with green cash. So much cash that it was in Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. They got all the cash from all the banks. They put it, and they flew it to Iran. I never knew a president had that power. I'm going to maybe try it sometime if it's okay. I think I'm going to do it. I'll fly it somewhere. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. 2 planes loaded from floor to ceiling, big planes, Boeing 757s, taken over there and given cash. In addition to that, he was giving them billions of dollars, but worse, he was giving them the right to have the path to a nuclear weapon. And that deal expired. A lot of people said, oh, you terminated it. Well, it was going to be terminated anyway because it expired. It gave them the right to have top-of-the-line nuclear weapon. If they had, because they're crazy, just like the people on my right during the State of the Union. I looked at them, I said, you're crazy? These people are crazy. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it. All right, how about one or two more?
Mr. President.
Go ahead, please.
Chancellor Merz, you just heard that the president is thinking about punishing Spain. What are your thoughts spontaneously on this, and what can you do to,
Well, the answer on that is quite simple. We are trying to convince Spain to catch up with the 3% or 3.5%, which we agree on in NATO. And as the president said, it's correct. Spain is the only one who is not willing to accept that. And we are trying to convince them that this is a part of our common security, that we all have to comply with these numbers, and this is 3.5 for military and another 1.5 for our military infrastructure. So Spain has to comply with that.
Spain has been very, very uncooperative, and so has UK. Now the second one is shocking, but this is not the age of Churchill. I will say the UK has been very, very uncooperative with that stupid island that they have, that they gave away and took a 100-year lease, having to do with perhaps indigenous people claiming the island that never even saw the island before. What's that all about? And they ruin relationships. It's a shame. It's and that country, UK, and I love that country. I love it. My mother was born there. I love it. My mother was born there. My father was born. Right? He knows all about my father. My father was born there. So, you know, places that you sort of automatically very feel warmly about. But the UK, what they're doing with energy and what they're doing with immigration is horrible. You have the North Sea. Somebody said yesterday, what would you do if you were in the UK? Open up the North Sea. They got windmills all over the place that are ruining the country, ruining the landscapes, ruining the beautiful fields. Open up the North Sea. It's one of the greatest. Think of it. They buy their energy from Norway, which gets the energy, the oil, from the North Sea. So Norway drills in the North Sea and sells it to UK. And UK has a better part of the North Sea. So open up that. And number two, illegal immigration. They got to solve that problem. And I must say, that's not only UK, that's other parts of the European Union that have the same problem. Immigration and energy. The energy is through the roof, the highest in the world. And the immigration was, I mean, you know, look, you have places where in the UK, you have a terrible mayor of London, terrible, he's an incompetent guy. But you have Sharia courts. You don't have Sharia courts. You don't want Sharia courts. You have Sharia courts adjudicating law. So it's very simple. Immigration, very importantly, immigration and energy. And you bring it back. Otherwise, you're not going to bring it back. Okay. One more. Go ahead.
I have a question for the Chancellor.
Yes, please.
To the Chancellor, Chancellor Merz.
Yeah.
You've called for unity and joint force in this moment against Iran. What does that look like to you? And then, Mr. President, where is getting a deal with Russia and Ukraine on your priority list right now?
Okay,
so we, as I said, in Germany the last 2 days, we are supporting the United States and Israel to get rid of this terrible terrorist regime. And we are looking forward to a day after, and we have to talk about the strategy. What is following after this regime is away, and we have to strategize on this entire region. And we are having a high interest in common approach and common work and what we can do, and this is important not just for the Americans. This is extremely important for Europe and extremely important for Israel and their security. So we are really looking forward to find ways how to deal about the day after.
And as far as Russia, Ukraine, where is it on my priority list? Very high. We thought that, I thought it was going to be one of the easier ones. I've settled 8 wars, and actually maybe one more than that. But minimum 8 wars, big ones, potential India, Pakistan, big wars, very important, big ones. I thought this was going to be much easier than it is. There's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky, tremendous hatred. I've seen a lot of hatred in my life, but I think this is about top scale. I believe it's going to happen. Sometimes I blame one, sometimes I blame the other. I think it's going to happen, but it's high on my list. Not in that it affects the United States so much, because it's very far away, but last week, last week and for the last 4 weeks actually, 32,000 soldiers died. 32,000. And it's been averaging 25 to 30,000 soldiers a month have been dying in that stupid war. And I'd love to see it ended. It's the worst that there has been since World War II.
If you can't get a deal, what will that mean for you?
All you can do is do your best. You know, it takes 2 to tango, and they have to get along. They have to be able to talk to each other. They hate each other a lot. That has an impact. You know, it really has an impact. It's bad for both. The saddest is that if the election weren't rigged, my election, that war would have never taken place. And you know what else wouldn't have taken place? Allowing 25 million people to pour through an open border, that wouldn't have taken place. A lot of things would have been different. But we're doing very well, and I think a big factor in this world and future factor is what we're doing right now with Iran. If we don't stop them, or if we didn't stop them, or if we didn't start, they've been decimated. But if we didn't do what we're doing right now, you would have had a nuclear war, and they would have taken out many countries, because you know what? They're sick people. They're mentally ill, sick people. They're angry. They're crazy. They're sick. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.